let's make fish and chips because you haven't seen it made perfectly until now.
Hey, what's up? My name is Chase Andy, and welcome to the channel. If you don't know, I'm on a mission to see the world and experience every possible cuisine along the way. I love food, I love to cook, and the art of it. So follow me on my journey of seeing the world and tasting all the many different flavors and foods it has to offer. So subscribe, because we're going to make plenty of memories on this blissful ride.
Fish and chips. This staple in British cuisine has been around for years, long before anyone I know was even born. We Americans call it fried fish and french fries, but however, across the pond, they do things slightly differently. When you combine freshly caught fish, crunchy french fries, and just a few seasonings, you come up with a meal that's not only simple, but delicious as well. So let me show you how to make just that. To start, we're going to create a simple tartar sauce for our meal. To a bowl, you're going to add 1 cup of mayo, season that with salt and pepper, finally chop some fresh dill, and add that in a bowl. Take 1 lemon, fully zested, and add that into the bowl. Fully squeezed a half a lemon. Chop up some shallots, pickles, and fresh garlic, and add that into the bowl. And last but not least, add in a few teaspoons of Dijon mustard to the dish. Mix this together and let it chill in the fridge so that we can have nice and cold tartar sauce for our meal. Now, let's start on the batter. Grab 2 bowls to begin our wet and dry batter. To the first bowl, you want to add in 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a generous pinch of salt, a generous pinch or grinder of pepper, and mix together until combined. It's really important to note 2 things here. 1, the Brits actually don't season their stuff with a lot of seasonings. Maybe a simple salt, simple pepper, possibly garlic powder, and that's literally it. And 2, if you have any other seasonings you want to add, I highly recommend you do just that. But for the sake of this video, I'm keeping it authentic. But if it wasn't authentic, I would do what I'm recommending y'all to do, which is season your batter a little more. Once you have that thoroughly mixed in, you want to add in 1 full can of light beer, or lager in this case. For this, I'm using Stella Artois, but you're welcome to use any beer you have on hand if you're an avid beer drinker. I'm personally not, so this is what I'm going with. The consistency you're looking for is a really wet pancake batter, one that is not too thick but isn't like water. Once you have that, grab a second bowl and add 1 cup of flour, a pinch of salt, a teaspoon of baking powder, and some garlic powder. Mix these in together and set them aside as we prepare our cod. Grab your fish if it's cut and space them out evenly on a baking tray or wire rack. If you have a full cut of cod, cut your fish into semi-long vertical pieces, as this will give us those perfectly long pieces of fish for the dish. It's important to know you can use 2 kinds of fish for this. You can use fresh cod, which I highly recommend, or you can use frozen cod. But if you're using frozen cod, you want to make sure that you do 2 things. 1, you defrost the fish completely, and I do mean completely. And 2, you want to pat it dry once it is de-thawed so that it don't have any water content at all. This will make sure that our fish, when it's fried, is a lot crispier and has a better taste. Like I said, you're welcome to use frozen fish, but in this case, I would recommend a simple fresh fish from the store. Once you have your fish laid out, you want to salt your fish on each side and let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. This helps us ensure no extra water is in the fish and will give us a crunch that is second to none. Once the time is up, grab your batter and it's time to fry. The fish dipping is a 3-step process. Dry batter, then wet batter, let it drain off any excess, and then you place it in the fryer. A great rule of thumb is that if the fish looks done when it's fried, it probably is. Fish of this kind takes no longer than 5 to 10 minutes to fry, and once it reaches internal temperature of 135 to 140, that's how you know the fish is done. So you can either test it or look at it, and either way, it'll be done. What you're looking for on the outside of the fish is also a golden brown texture. Not too light, not too dark, because you don't want to burn the fish, but anywhere in the medium where you have a nice golden brown French fry type of color, that's how you know the fish is ready. Repeat this process until all of your fish are done. And finally, we're going to start on our French fries, or chips in this case. Take 2 to 3 russet potatoes and cut off the rounded edges, as this makes it much easier to deal with. Across the pond, they use either King Edward's or Mary's Piper's potatoes. Hopefully I'm saying that right. But because my local market is a Whole Foods and a Kroger, I've never seen any of them. So in this case, we're going to go russet potatoes because that's what's available to me. And I'm also sure it's probably what's available to you. So it's not really authentic, but for the recipe and for the sake of wherever I live at, wherever you live at, we're going to use russet potatoes. Once you have the edges sliced off, you're going to cut the potatoes into 1 to 2 inch thick cuts. And do this to all the potatoes you have. Once you have your slabs, lay them flat and create 3 to 4 French fries with each slab. After this is done, grab a bowl, fill it with water, and place all of your fries or chips in the bowl. You're going to wash off all the starch with the 3-wash method. You want to wash the fries in the water and keep changing the water until it stays clear on your final wash. This way you know you've removed all of the starch. Once you've removed starch, it's time to cook the chips. Similar to the fish method, it also is a 3-step process for the fries, or chips in this case. You're going to start by boiling the chips. You're then going to fry the chips, not on a hard fry, but a soft fry. And then for the last step, you're going to flash fry to make the chips be a tad bit crunchy when you bite into them. To start, bring a pot of water to a whirling boil and add a generous amount of salt and just a splash of vinegar to the mix. This helps our crispiness of our fries, and don't worry, you won't taste the vinegar, I promise. Next, you're going to crack the heat down just a tad so that the water doesn't turn our chips into mashed potatoes. After about 5 to 8 minutes, you should have a chip that's soft but doesn't break apart. And once you have this, they're ready to rest and take them out. Once they're rested, remove your water thoroughly, dry it out, and add your neutral cooking oil to the pot. Bring this pot to 275 or somewhere around there, and you're going to fry them until they reach a light brown color. Like I said before, the first fry is to bring them to a light brown color, not to make sure that they're done, not to make sure that they're crispy, but to give them the difference of the inside being warm and fluffy and the outside being lightly crispy. Once you've reached this temperature and texture, take them out and let them rest for 20 minutes or until completely cooled off. It's best if you do this step overnight, but I'm only telling y'all the best practice, but I'm not doing that, so it's okay if you don't either. Once they reach the perfect temperature and texture, take them out and let them rest for 20 minutes or until completely cooled off. It's best if you do this step overnight. Although I'm only telling you guys what's the best thing to do, I'm not doing this, so it's okay if you don't either. Once they have cooled, crank the heat up to 350 and fry until crispy and golden brown. This should take about no more than 5 to 6 minutes. You will know when they'll be done because they'll snap. They'll have a nice crispy texture on the outside, and it'll be nice, soft, and warm on the inside. And just like that, you've created the perfect fish and chips dinner. You're going to plate this with your tartar sauce and a heaping amount of chips, a few pieces of fish, and add that to the plate. Authentically, this is seasoned with salt and malt vinegar, but I'm American. I'd much rather have just cocktail sauce and tartar sauce, but you're welcome to do what works for you. Until next time, enjoy your dinner and have a good one. From Chase Andy.